Morning, everybody. How are we all today? I'm hoping that this works a little bit better than yesterday. So we have an independence and confidence chat with Tracy this morning. I have someone joining me, so it might be a little bit distracting. He's currently doing drawing, so we never know what will happen. You drawing on the bed? Helpful. How are we all? If you are watching, give us a comment. Not that I can see them, I don't know. Yesterday, can I comment? Mama. Dad. I'm going to use that everyone tag. And let's see if I can get everyone in.
Dad.
Yeah, he's got the pen. I can see that someone's here. Who is it? Let's see, can I do this as we wait? Because yesterday I know that Carrie was on a lot earlier than actually I could see that she was on. But I'm hoping that we get to add Tracy quite soon. So we've been spending the week talking about independence. And this morning I put out a little poll about independence and what's actually holding us back from that. Hi Tracy, I'll add you on. Yes, add. I'm just adding now. So how we can add, what's stopping us from having independence, with letting our kids have more independence. And there was a lot of people that said it was just the mess, and I totally get that because life is flipping busy. We've got enough to do without adding actually more mess. But anyway, here's Tracy.
No. It wouldn't let me join on my computer. I couldn't even see a button. So I'm kind of hoping my phone keeps signal for you.
Yeah, well, I can't see you, but apparently this is exactly what happened yesterday. So I'm fingers crossed that it's all okay and it'll be fine. So welcome. Hello, how are you?
And it's good to... Hello, good morning.
Say hi.
Can you see me? I'm waving and I'm not sure
We
you
can't
can
see
see
you,
me.
we'll wave back a bit. So how are you?
I am good. I'm good. How about you?
Yeah, we're okay. We're okay. We are, we're here.
All I can see is eyes.
So start off telling us a little bit about you, what you do, and yeah, all about Tracy.
I'm hoping you're keeping signal and that everyone can hear me because my phone is jumping everywhere.
I can still hear you.
I am a positive psychology specialist and coach, which means that basically I work to bring everyone to find the best bits of who they are, be that children or adults, it does not matter. You should all know the best bits of yourself. And that is what I do.
That sounds great. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We should, and I don't think we often allow ourselves to sort of celebrate us, do we?
No. Your brain has this automatic negative bias that takes quite a lot of retraining.
Absolutely, I've been working on that a lot recently. Yes. You're on the bed. So I've got a few questions, but I don't have to go with them. We'll just sort of see how the conversation goes. Music? Good place for music. It's up there. So if we're thinking about confidence and independence, how important do you think it is for the parents to have that sort of independence and confidence themselves in order to be able to help their kids have that? How linked is it?
Very. No, well, if you think your children see you how many hours a day? So if you're beating yourself up, even if you're giving out like this, oh, I hate the world energy, your whole body language and every single part of you is, whether you're sitting there going, yes, I'm having a great day, that doesn't mean that's what your body language is saying and what they're seeing. So that independence and that confidence in yourself and that self-esteem is really important to pass on, because they're going to mimic everything you do, from your body language to your expressions to the way you say things, and it all goes in. And it's, so if you're working on yourself first, you're passing that on anyway.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you there. You can act, you can say whatever you like, but they kind of know you really, really well.
Really do. They really,
know
really
and
do.
nothing's going. Sorry, go on.
It's all right. I'm just trying to find somewhere to put my phone down. I was not set up for a phone
Oh,
one. I'm like,
no.
so you're all gonna
Technology,
get
it's fun.
God knows what angles in a minute, and hopefully I won't hang up on it. But you know, you're gonna see my roof and my painting and everything.
I can't see you at all, but I will do later when I rewatch the
I can't get my tripod to work. It's just one of those mornings. Um,
So,
but
in terms
that right there is an automatic saying, right? That I've passed on to my children. It's one of those days. It's one of those mornings.
yeah,
Whereas realistically, it never is. It's that precise moment that something's not going perfectly to plan in my eyes.
yeah.
And I've passed that on to my boys now. My boys are like 19 and 21 now, which is ridiculous.
Yes, no, absolutely. And it's so fun. Like, sometimes it's quite funny when they copy what you said because you realise, oh, I didn't realise I said that.
Yeah.
But
I have
sometimes you're like,
raised
oh.
I have raised little mimics. Both of mine are so like me, it's scary. My youngest is autistic, and he will mimic my coaching style. So if I'm coaching and I'm asking people, you know, how are you doing today? And he'll literally mimic it back in the same tone and voice and everything at me. And I'm like, don't coach me, go away.
Oh, that's quite sweet, really. So if we're thinking about like independence in our children, what can we do at home that are like quick, actionable things that we can all do to sort of to bring about their independence a little bit?
Okay. Well, the easiest way to do that is encourage their autonomy. You know, show them that what they're doing is valued. If they're, and it's not the end goal that's valued, it's the effort they're putting into it. I think that's kind of the biggest action you can take is stop looking at, you did it. Start looking at how much effort they're putting into things instead.
Yeah.
And you know, give them a control over their choices, that decision making. My son has PDA, and I learned really fast that decisions were really important to him. Yeah. So you know, that giving them control over decisions is important, even from a really young age. What pair of socks do you want to wear? Which sock goes on what foot? You know, it is those little decisions that will really empower their independence. And if they're struggling with that, what do they need to get to that next step? Do they need visuals? Do they need you to take them through it 5 times before they understand it? What can you do to kind of build their confidence that they can do it?
Yeah, it's about those tiny little steps. That, like, we're not expecting them to go from sort of not having the confidence and the independence to suddenly having it the next day. It's like, what tiny little thing can we do to move them that little bit further forward?
No, it is one of those things that we don't consider because, you know, it's so much faster if we get them dressed in the morning. When you're trying to get out the door, you've got 3 kids, you're just trying to get out. Trying to get them to put their socks on is not worth the, you know, 3-hour battle to do it. But in the long run, it really is. In the long run, if you're teaching them to get dressed independently, if you're teaching them to get out the door independently, it's going to save you so much effort when they're older to try and it's also, you know, to try and get that into place. It's also going to build relationships with them. If they know that you're their cheerleader and that you're valuing them, it builds their trust. So when they're hitting teenage years, they're going to go to you with things because they trust that you're not going to overreact because they've done something wrong. You're going to just help them find the teachings in that.
Yeah.
So it's a lifelong thing, comes from just the really small things when they're little.
Definitely. I think I always say to people that the things we do as parents now that feel really hard, like putting their socks on or putting their shoes on, are going to make it's for the long-term effort. It's the long-term goal that we're looking for. We're not looking for what actually is happening in this moment. It's that long-term goal, like you say. And I think it's really important to also say that we're not necessarily saying that every single time they have to put their shoes on themselves or every single time, because sometimes you do just have to get out the door and life is busy. But being aware of it and just sort of going, well, actually, I don't have to be at the park at this exact moment. I can spend a bit of extra time because that's so valuable, that learning time, and it's actually creating the bonds, like you say, as well.
Well, it's switching it up as well, you know. On a good day, it can be a game. You know, it can turn into this, oh, let's put the shoes on. What can we do with the laces? It can turn into something really fun. And on a difficult day when you have to get out the door, it's like, actually, let me show you the way I do this. And let me show you this and then see if you can do it next time. Because, you know, once you start teaching the independence, you've also got to have ways that you can pull it back a bit and go, oh, God, we need to move. Because otherwise they'll want to do it every single time.
Yeah. Yes, that is very true. When I was a nursery manager, and it was Montessori, so it was very child-led, very much independence. And the amount of parents that we'd have saying, thanks for teaching them this, but it's a real pain now because they need to do it every time. I'm like, yeah.
It is that flexibility, isn't it? We kind of want to teach independence, but we want to be able to take our power back as well. So if we go at that from the same tone, not power, that's the wrong word, but you know what I mean. We want to be able to kind of have that moment where we can support them as well. Yeah. And if we go at that from the same tone of playfulness and teaching and building, then they'll accept it a lot easier. I know with my youngest, with having his PDA, it took me a very long time to understand and change my methods because I was quite young and not ready for that. Let's put it that way. And it was a case of I wasn't taking his autonomy. I wasn't taking that away from him. It was that I was teaching him, I was supporting him to do it. How can I help you to get this on faster?
Yeah.
How can we do this a bit quicker and beat your brother out the door this morning? How can we do this the fastest way ever? You know, it was really taking it to a different level of giving them that autonomy.
Definitely, yeah. There's one thing that you said that I kind of sparked an idea for a question. So often I notice that children, like preschoolers, love anywhere from like, well, this one loves to be able to do things on his own, and then it'll get to the point where they're like 7, 8, and they suddenly a bit like they kind of regress in that a little bit where they want us to do everything for them. How have you got any tips for that, or have you got any sort of ideas of why that happens?
It's a huge hormone influx. It's their first hormone influx, so that's where you get all the precursors for teenagers. Aren't you lucky? But because their brains are getting this overload, it's really tricky for them at that time. They're stuck in this state of I'm an adult now, I'm 8 or 9, I can do everything, to really wanting that comfort and that belonging that is a home, because they're leaving that behind. They're leaving that behind in their independence. They're leaving it behind at school. You know, they move into year 3 where it goes from game. I think it's year 3. It's been a long time since I had ones that age. I'm sure it's year 3. But I used to work in primary schools, and I know that year 3 would hit and everyone would go absolutely, oh my goodness, what do we do with this?
Yeah.
But they hit that stage. And for me, that's about supporting their sense of connection and belonging, and that you're still there, and reminding them of that. It's that supporting that, yes, their friends are amazing, because to them, their friends are their life at that age. Their friends are everything. So ask them about their friends. Ask them, what's one thing that the person next to you did amazing today? Because to them, you think how many hours a day they spend in that situation. I actually homeschooled one, and I had one at school, so I have very different views from it. But it all seemed to go on the same basis for me. With my boys, and from experience of coaching families and children, when they get to 8, they want to know who they are. They want to build their self-confidence, but the way they need to do that is have their self-esteem to be building.
Sorry, I missed what you said right at the end there, but I think it's that they're growing up and they've got that sense that they're growing up, but also they're still really little, really. So it's confusing time for them. And I remember reading, because I was like, what on earth is happening to my daughter? And I remember looking it up and reading about, especially in girls, it's called like adrenarche. I don't know how to say it.
Don't ask me. I don't remember, and it's too early in the day for me to say.
It's like that huge sort of pre-puberty, and I was like, oh my, well, this is definitely what's going on, because it's the emotions.
Yeah,
Um,
it is that kind of influx of hormones, and you know, the lack of emotional intelligence is really obvious at that age.
yeah,
But it's also a really great age to start building it. You know, they're at the age where they really understand when you start to tell them what, you know, work with their emotions. I tend to stick to art for emotional development at that
mhm,
age, to be honest with you. Creative stuff just takes their brain out of it and lets them blip and process it a lot better.
yeah. We have got art out all the time at my house, which is because they're at such different stages as well. So someone wants to join in and play with the Sharpies, and I'm
Good luck with
um,
that.
it's a joy. No, it is a joy. It is. So what role does like having a good routine would you suggest about like is having a routine a really good idea for increasing independence? Yeah.
It really kind of depends on the child. Some children thrive on routine, and
Yeah.
some find the pressure of it
Mm,
and the lack of choices in it are really hard. So I've seen some children that need that base level routine to be able to have the freedom to kind of explore and to have the, you know, if they know what's going to happen, they can step into it and they can
yeah.
explore.
Yeah.
But if they don't know what's going to happen, they get overwhelmed completely. Whereas other children find routine really restrictive. It's like, I can only do routine, so therefore I will not explore anything else.
Yeah.
So it really depends on how your child interacts with the world and how confident they are in themselves and how much they kind of have that strengths based confidence where they have the self esteem and they have their own individual worth. If you've really worked well with that individual worth and they like routine, you'll soon know it. If they don't, you'll soon know it as well. Um,
Yeah.
so it's a really individual thing, I think, that question.
Yeah.
What do you
I
think?
think like most things, it goes back to taking that step back and looking at them and how, I like you say, how they're interacting with the world and just getting to know them and being curious about them as a person
Yeah.
because they're not a mini version of you, which it seems
No.
obvious to say, but also a lot of the time we are parenting through that sort of lens of us and all of our experiences, and actually they're a different person to us. So it's hard. It's always working on us first.
I say, don't get me started on that kind of psychology because we will be here for like a year.
Yeah,
I want
definitely.
to also apologise to anyone who keeps watching me grab a tissue. I am full of cold, so
Oh,
I'm just trying to get through this without snotting all over you. Um,
it's not okay. I'm used to that.
yeah, I keep kind of looking away and grabbing tissues and things. I'm like, this is live and recorded.
It's all right.
Should probably
It's all good.
explain.
It's all good. Do you know, I have a child who's just fallen asleep breastfeeding, so you know it's okay. It's all good. It's all accepted here. Um,
Glad.
so yeah, I think that's all of the questions I was going to actually ask you. So if unless there's any other like quick tips or anything that you wanted to share with us, then feel free.
I
Or if there's
think
any
the main
questions, then
thing,
not that I can see any comments. So
I can't see any comments either. So if there are comments, I
that
can come back and answer them in text later.
okay.
I think it's that the most important thing is to teach the self-compassion, and that, you know, mistakes are learning. You've got negative self-talk doesn't have to stay there. Just all those really basic parts
Mm,
of being confident and building self-esteem, because people get confused with self-confidence and self-esteem.
yeah.
Confidence is based in what we do, it's based in being good at things, but that self-esteem, that inner worth, is so
Mhm.
important when you're building independence in children. And yeah, there are so many ways I could talk forever about the different ways, but I think my favorite way to teach people is self-compassion. That inner voice you hear so more frequently than any other voice in the world.
Yeah.
So as an adult, if you can change it, your child will start learning from that and start teaching them that voice as well. Don't just ignore it and think they're going to automatically love themselves.
Yeah, because they say, don't they, that the voice that you talk to yourself with will end up being their voice in their head because it comes out sometimes as you know mums are
Does
tired and busy and it happens to me. I say to myself, oh, for goodness sake, why couldn't I just get that
yeah,
right? Or you know, all those sorts of things like, oh, I'm useless at this. And then because I'm more aware of it now, I'm sort of saying it, and then I'm saying, oh yeah, but you tried really hard, and at least you're working hard to do this, and I'm like backtracking, like trying to get her to listen to the good stuff that I'm saying. But
yeah,
yeah,
no, that's the thing. If you start talking to yourself like a friend or without judgment,
yeah,
and explore that with them as well, and do it in a really obvious way. What would your friends say
yeah,
if they were in this situation?
yeah,
You know.
yeah. And that's what I've said to parents as well before. I'm like, you would never. Yes, this situation happened, and yes, you didn't necessarily act ideally, but you'd never say the stuff that you've just said to me about yourself to your friend or to your child, and you should treat yourself with that much compassion. So yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah.
Often when I'm coaching, I just turn around and say, would you talk to me the way you just talked to you? And the answer is no,
Yeah.
never.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be horrible to someone,
No.
but you're quite happy being horrible to yourself.
Oh yes. Yeah, we are. So lovely. Thank you so much. There were some really, really amazing things there. I feel like we've sped through it today, but maybe that's just because I had lots more things to deal with.
Bless you. You did have a bit
Yes. So tell us where we can find you, if you want to come and follow you, Tracy.
Yeah, I run a company called Truly Listening, and I also work with Cherry, who I think is in this group, to run Dreamweavers.
I was watching earlier, to be fair.
To run Dreamweavers, which is our platform that supports parents and provides resources for parents.
Cool.
So that is where you can find me. I'll leave some links somewhere.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Cool. All right. Well, it was lovely to talk to you, and hopefully some people were watching. Not that I saw any comments. So if you did comment, then hi, we are here.
We are.
And we will reply to you, I promise.
Thank you so much
Thank you so
for having
much.
me on.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you very much.